お帰りなさいませ。
Man, what a good episode of Demon Slayer. Oh my gosh, it's like a little later in the day, so my voice is actually back, my energy's back a bit. Oh my gosh, was that good, dude? Oh, okay. Alright, so we're just gonna go into this. So we're in the Edo period, and some lady, I don't know if we're already in the Edo period. I almost feel like this is the same exact scene, but just played twice, but we're just gonna go with it. A lady walks into a room, and this other lady's getting her makeup on, and clearly the other lady is a demon because you seem nervous. You're walking in there and upset, and you tell the person, "Man, you've been making people disappear. Why in the world would you feel comfortable walking up to and making the point of to a person who is currently making people disappear by yourself? You're an idiot. You deserve to die. That's it. I'm gonna say it. You're dumb. If you think the person in the next room to you is a demon, like a someone's gonna kill people, maybe have 2, 3, 4 people behind you. I'm not saying she won't just kill all of you. I'm just saying if you're gonna die, you might as well have a good effort in it. It's freaking crazy. I might as well tell everybody outside in the town. You've been better off making a smear campaign and then moving to another house. She's gonna come after you eventually, yeah. But I just stay out in the sunlight for as long as I can. I guess we're trying to convince people, like, oh man, you believe it? She's crazy. Anyways, we're not gonna talk about that for too long. Except when we get back to it again. Love the op, right? The op feels like a casino. It feels like we're going to like Vegas or something. And I'm really good. I forgot that the last time we left, I think it's Makio was kidnapped, and slowly being tortured, BDSM style, just wrappings and trying to squeeze her lungs to death. Zenitsu was so angry, that he forgot who he was as he was walking around the house he was stuck at. Inosuke was currently looking for Mako in that in that area, and he's like sensing something's off and running his way all the way over there. And Zenitsu is walking around the house himself and like, man, I haven't got anything done. I forgot I was here to come rescue his wife and not get really better at I think it's the Samizen, right? He was just so angry he forgot who he was, and that still cracks me up. And then he hears a young girl crying, and I don't remember if he says like a young girl crying because he's kind of a white knight, but I'm here for it this episode, bro. I'm here for it. What was I gonna say? So we go back to Makio, and I think she's getting like her lungs crushed by the lady. She's like, if you say anything, I'm gonna kill you. Wait a second, I forgot. Does that mean there are 3 of them? Or 2? I guess 2 of them? Or is it the same lady working at 2 houses? Don't tell me. Just let me figure it out. I might be stupid. Anyways. But Inosuke is like having thoughts for the first time, and I loved this in this show. They show the characters having some actual growth and how they go about things. So, Inosuke's typical thing was just to run in there like an insane person, go on swords first, attacking anything that came his way to deal with his problems. Now Inosuke figures out he's in a high stressful situation, doesn't know whether or not to rush in because it's he could make it worse, right? He can end up making the situation worse, or it could be something else, and then he alerts the demon, and the demon goes somewhere else. Which is what happens, but he takes the time to think about it, which I think is a nice step in his character. Then he goes full Inosuke. He opens the door. There's nothing in there but the wind. He can hear the demon in the attic, so he's like, oh, I'm not doing this. I'm getting you. He runs outside, pushes like 8 girls out of the way, hopping over things, running through people's rooms, all that garbage. He's just chasing the sound and the little bumping out of the roof. And then he like charges up a punch so he can punch through the wall and get the demon through the wall, I'm guessing. And right when that happens, the guy we see in the beginning of the episode gets right in front of him and he just decks him right into the wall. And it showed some little like x-ray thing. I don't remember if it was like the demon, like, oh, he actually did hit the demon to some degree, or like he just sensed where the demon was. But it went down the stairs and he was trying to find it, but he couldn't find it at the moment. And then we switch over back to Zenitsu. So he hears this young girl like crying in a room, and he's like, little girl, what's wrong? Because, it's Zenitsu, so he's panicking still. And then after that, she starts crying a little bit more. He relaxes a bit, which is good. This is new for his character. He's relaxing. So the little girl, he walks over to her. He's like, hey, are you okay? I didn't mean to yell at you. And then right before, like, even since she's about to talk, demon lady appears. I think the one probably in the op. I'm not sure, but the one that we see in the op. Let's just say that. Let's go with it. And she's so strong, he can sense it. He couldn't even feel her come by. She's just like, "What are you doing in my room?" And he's just like, I'm sorry, ma'am. I wasn't trying to be in your room," but he's like terrified because I don't think he's really bumped into an upper demon while conscious, right? He was unconscious with all that stuff in Rengoku. And that was mostly just Inosuke and Tanjiro, if anything. Zenitsu hasn't had that experience. So, Zenitsu is like trying to figure out how to, again, so it's another good thing for him. So Zenitsu originally was very panicked, women, complete weakness, was way too scared to do anything, and even when faced with like, hey, there's a young kid you're protecting, the entire time he's going, Kuei, Kuei, and crying about it, right? And now we see him in a position where he's trying to reason his way out of it. Unfortunately for him, the demon's kind of insane, and he's like, "Get out of my room," and then walks over to the little girl and is like, "I thought I told you to clean this room a while ago," and pinches her ear till it starts bleeding. And then, bro, best moment in this whole thing for me, because I love Zenitsu, he just like, "Hey, let her go." Oh my gosh. Listen. The only issue with white knighting is when it comes to simping. When you're just doing the right thing for the right thing, I'm out here cheering, all right? I don't care what the internet's common perception of white knight is. I was there for my boy. Oh my gosh. I'm so proud of this character's development. I love Zenitsu. Man, because he's terrified of this stuff. But he knows what moment he's in right now. He has to do something. If he can't just sit around, even if the kid doesn't die, right? Or the little girl doesn't die. No means no. Even if it means your death. And I respect that. Anyways, he grabs her arm and she's like, "Did you just touch me? You ugly." She's been calling him ugly the entire time. "You ugly piece of trash," or whatever else. And Zenitsu's like, "Let her go, please." Like, he's still trying to reason it out, but hey, I respect it. Little girl's crying and her ear is literally bleeding again. That was very dark. Then I think we go into Tanjiro. I wrote for the Zenitsu thing, I wrote, "Yeah, big man Zenitsu." Yeah, buddy. Man, grab that demon's arm, no fear. Yes, okay, anyways. Tanjiro is literally too diligent in the house he's working in. He's scaring the old lady he works for. And, like, he's even checking the sliding door and putting chalk there so it won't make a squeaking sound. The one lady's looking for Inosuke because he banged up the house, and they're like, he did that to the wall, or she did that to the wall, because they still think it's Inoko, even though he was yelling the entire time. But, whatever. When she opens the door, he's like doing a plank, but like his legs are bent over his head like a scorpion. And he says he's trying to sense it, but he can't sense the demon. I don't know how that helps him, but whatever else. He's freaking weird. And then the lady's just kind of like in shock as he like, I almost want to say hip hop dances his way onto his feet. And then so Zenitsu's still holding the demon lady's hand, and then she just goes, bam, right to the side of his face, knocks him straight through 3 doors. And I was like, man, you tried, but golly. Oh my gosh. And then we get this little cutscene. So we go into, I think her name is Watabi Hime. I think that's the name of the demon lady we're looking at right now. She's got kind of a fox-like face to her. Like, her hair looks like fox ears, and like the shading on her nose is specifically, I would say more, I'm not saying like she looks like a dog. I'm saying that it's more dog-like. It's like the shading for her nose is more square, which I think makes the end of her nose look like a little bit more of a triangle point. I think they're like symbolizing the fox was there. I don't know what Watabi means specifically, because names are a bit more difficult in Japanese. Like I just learned what Nagoyuki is after playing so much of Strive. Anyways, so she's very spiteful. Like, she's a very mean and spiteful person. She keeps calling everybody ugly. The old lady, so I don't know if this was our opening cutscene, but let's assume it is. So the old lady came in there to say, hey, I've been covering you for a really long time. And right now, it seems you're being a very dangerous person. And now all these girls are just happening to commit suicide. And I don't know what you could be a little nicer to them. You might be causing them. And then she like tilts her head over like, ba, which means like, I think like hag. She's like, what are you saying to me, huh? Because she is like 100% on that gangster energy. Black Air Force energy on this character. And she's like, you don't happen to be, I don't remember if it's an Oran, because they're talking about kind of like a Japanese, I think it sounds like a mythology thing, kind of. And like they would tilt their head sideways, wherever else like that, like you're currently doing. And then she almost says, "You're not human, are you?" Again, if you're coming to kill somebody, I think I understand, right? The old lady's trying to see if she can reason for the last time because she's not a demon. Obviously, she's not just trying to kill a random person. She doesn't want to be insane. Like, how do you know someone's a demon, right? But my thing is, right? You didn't come in with any backup. The weapon you're holding is behind your back in a very awkward position. Do you know how hard it is to get that knife from behind your back pointed up? Huh? To get to a stabbing position? What are you going to do? Hold your wrist like twisted and then stab down? It's not going to work. And then you're calling out a person that, let's say she's not a killer, right? She's still a very angry, belligerent person. Clearly, that's not the first time she's hit somebody through a wall because they weren't that surprised. So, what was the plan here? And then she died. And I just went, well, that's what you get for being stupid. That's what it is. You're dumb. And then she gets... So here's my thing, right? I was going to be all like, oh, I wonder if this demon lady's, like, hot. Because the opening. And now I'm more like, she hit my boy Zenitsu. I don't know how I feel about that. And she was mean to those little girls. And that one little girl was crying. I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, you're hot, but I kind of hate your guts. Just a little bit. Grabs the old lady, drops her off a building, got killed. Also, she kills people. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And nobody looks up after the old lady falls down from the sky, and I'm like, isn't that the first place you would look after you've watched somebody fall from the sky a bit? But no. Also, with the shape of the roof, she'll probably just move over a bit, and they won't be able to see her. My point is, I still think they could have looked up. And then she's walking on the thing, and when she hops back into her room, Muzan's there, and oh my gosh, the blushes on this woman for Muzan. It wasn't as bad as Sengoku Basura. I just saw her go like, oh, Lord Muzan, and I went, oh my freaking gosh. Yeah, And then so he walks in, he's like, you're my strongest. So it turns out she's killed 7 Hashiras? She's very dangerous. He's not freaking lying. I think the one guy, he couldn't even really fight Rengoku, like he killed him, but took him freaking forever, and he basically ran away from the fight at the very end too. So bleh. Yeah, no. So she's actually dangerous. He actually seems fond of her, not like I don't know if think it's a romantic sense. I think he just likes using people. But he seems like happy with her progress. The only thing he tells her is not to get too cocky, which is I would say is a huge compliment from Muzan, because that dude is like, out of all the anime villains I think I've seen in Shonen so far, very vicious person, almost Frieza level of vicious, like I just kill a guy because you talked to me wrong kind of way, which he did, I think, kind of. He's a little bit more sensible, but I feel like he's more dangerous, right? I feel like with Frieza, you can get around with him like, hey, Lord Frieza, oh, my bad, I didn't mean to drop that thing, and you go, get out of my way, you piece of trash, never drop it again, or else, and you'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, Lord Frieza, and you'd be okay. Him, you'd be like, oh, Muzan, I'm so sorry. I dropped that. You dropped a napkin? Ah! And he'd be like choking you out, and the other people would be watching. Then he'd probably kill one guy for watching. And then he'd tell the other guy, like, this is the lesson. Don't disappoint me. And then he'd drop him or whatever, and he'd like, this Lord Muzan, right? That kind of garbage. So, no. I think he's actually kind of worse in some degrees. Not at level of crime, but being a villain, yes. Anyways, so Muzan points out the fact that humans have an advantage since they can tell demons, and the demons can't really tell a Hashira or a Demon Slayer unit immediately, right? The Demon Slayers can almost tell from a sight, just like, oh, that guy's probably a demon, versus the Hashiras. So he's telling her to just be more cautious and not be cocky, and then he'll help her become even more beautiful and all that kind of stuff. You'll become more cruel. When he said that, I laughed so hard, and she's like, yes, Lord Muzan. I'm just like, oh my gosh, where's my evil couple goals? Oh man, who's gonna help me take over a village? Anyways, I was gonna say, poor Zenitsu, because he got knocked out, but I really respected Zenitsu. I'm so proud of him. Anyways, interesting that the demons have. I thought it was interesting, and I wanted to say this. It's so interesting to see the demons like living amongst the humans for long-term plans. Wadabi knows the fact that the longer she's here, the more people she can kill, and probably the more people she can catch off her guard. You're a demon slayer. You're taking the week off. Let's go over to the entertainment district. Geisha girls. Woo, 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 woo. Oh my gosh, that one really likes me. I wonder why. Blah. Dead. It's like free meals all the time. So it makes sense. She's smart. Unlike the other demons we've seen so far. Playing the long-term game, not the short-term. I just thought that was so interesting. Also, so fake, because her face went back onto the whole, like, wow, yeah, I'm so sorry. I just had a temper issue today. And I was like, wow, okay. Then Tanjiro talks about how it's getting murky at night. I think Wadabi does like the little lip biting thing on the paper, which I also thought was like, man, who's the first person to think of that? Like, I won't smudge my makeup if I just bite this piece of paper or this tissue. Smart. You're a smart person. You should have sold that. Anyways, and then we're basically done with the episode until we get Zenitsu waking up. And the girl's basically telling him thank you. He's still an idiot a little bit. He blushes for 5 seconds, and then he's all like, I never let a girl cry. And I laughed. I said, you dumb idiot, and laughed. But it was just really nice to see them be so genuinely thankful. And then Zenitsu, just unlike the previous Zenitsu that we knew beforehand, it wasn't about like, oh, girls or whatever else. He just sat down and went, he was just glad they were happy. They were like, you're one of the more kind-hearted people in here. Most people want to look out for themselves. Thank you. And when you see him holding his cheek and he looks down at the little tissue and then he puts it back on his cheek with that warm smile, I'm like, Zenitsu. And then that freaking demon lady grabbed him. Now I'm terrified. Stop doing this to Zenitsu. You already did it in season 1, almost turning him into a spider. Golly. I feel so much for him as a character because he's a misguided, dumb kid. So I think the reason why I feel for him the most is I think when I was younger, I was a lot more fearful, right? And sometimes shonen characters can become stereotypes of like a brave dude. Like nothing scares them. They're always ready to run into conflict occasionally. And not really in this show. I think the show does a really good job at making sure every character feels unique and that they're having growth. Even with Tanjiro not having anything in this episode, the episode 9 I think I did was very much Tanjiro-centric, and it was very much good for his character about his guilt. But with Zenitsu, we kind of get to a sort of Rock Lee Midoriya character where they doubt themselves, where they're not fully strong, where their friends are better than they are, and they're not spiteful about it. They just want to be better themselves. They also have moral codes they live by. And then we saw that with Zenitsu right here. He was so livid on his code, he wouldn't even let his fears stop him. And that says so much about a character. And so when I watch all that hopeful, naive heroism as a young boy get snatched away, it freaks me out. I'm so scared. I know nothing's gonna happen to him because this is shonen, I hope. Oh my gosh, it's making me panic. Anyways, also Christmas joke, he tries inviting Nezuko, and then everybody's there and he yells. Even Giyu is there. And he's all, hello. Get out! Everybody's only one who gets to say here is Zenitsu. But yeah, I'm really much looking forward to this. It's been quite fun. Oh my gosh. Be sure to check out my last reactions of Demon Slayer so you can kind of get my whole feel on this. I've got a playlist on that, playlist on 86, and whatever anime that might come out sooner or later. Hopefully you enjoy, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.